Shalom, everyone, and welcome to this week's Israel Update. My name is James O'Hare.
And I am Abigail O'Hare. Well, we have an interesting Israel update. We have some dear friends of ours. We love them. We call them our Mishboka, Moshe and Leah Goldsmith. And we've been to Itamar. I met them in Tennessee. We've actually had them on Messianic Lamb Network when it was Messianic Lamb Radio. We've also hosted them here in Massachusetts, which was wonderful. And we came across something on Facebook. It was a post that Itamar did. And it was extremely disturbing. My heart just grieved because here is a couple. After they got married over 30 years ago, they went right to Israel, and they knew that they were called. They were chosen to go there. That was their function, if you will, their purpose. And they went to Itamar, and it was nothing really. It was just desert, a mountain, very little growth of any type of habitation on there. And they said, this is where we are going to live. This is where we are going to sow seeds, bear fruit, have our family, and also encourage other families to join us. And they did. So 30 some odd years later, I'm going to say 35, 36 years later, they did just that, bearing much fruit in Itamar. I don't know how many families are with them right now, but they are multiplying. And they are also, they have children, they have grandchildren, and people who know them look forward to going to Israel and visiting Itamar because they are just the most hospitable individuals that we know. We just love them dearly. Well, on Facebook, I read this. It was on June 6th, and it said, the fourth fire set on the hills of Itamar. A fire was set on the hills of Itamar. Now, mind you, now these hills of Itamar are bearing fruit. They have vegetation, they have fruit, they have animals, they are prospering, they have families there. In the last 2 days, they had 2 days of these fires. This crazy insanity must be stopped. This is from Leah. Itamar is demanding that the Israeli army and police arrest the perpetrators of the huge fires that endangered lives, homes, and lead to hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage to Itamar's farms. These evil people want to uproot us from our land. We are here to stay, and we will continue to grow and develop the town of Itamar in the heartland of Israel forever. And I just have to say that, we read Psalm 83, and the first verse is, O Elohim, do not remain silent, do not be speechless, do not be still, O El. For look, your enemies make an uproar, and those hating you have lifted up their head. They craftily plot against your people and conspire against your treasured ones. They have said, come, let us wipe them out as a nation, and let the name of Israel be remembered no more. For they have conspired together with one heart. They have made a covenant against you, Elohim. This is in Psalm 83. And then it goes on, and it says that, what they want to do, and this is what I was trying to go to, is they said, let us take possession of the pastures of Elohim for ourselves. These are pastures. You have to read all of Psalm 83, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to read it. But it's a cry, it's a prayer, and it's prophetic, because these are pastures of Elohim, pastures where the people of Israel are grazing. They are planting food. They are planting seeds where food comes up. They are growing families. They are being prosperous in multiplying families. They're raising the families in the Torah. It's a pasture of Elohim that is being set on fire. Very disturbing.
We actually went to Itamar way back in 2014, and we spent a day there and with Rabbi Moshe and Leah Goldsmith, and they took us around. They took us and showed us all the different things that they were doing and what they've done since 1983, where they've built up this dust bowl, if you will. I mean, it was literally just a mountain with just rocks and dust, a couple of houses on it at the time, and they came in and then built it into a thriving community. And we just had a wonderful, wonderful time with them, celebrating, and we rejoiced and praised and had a wonderful time. And now that we just came through the Feast of Shavuot, where the Torah was given on Mount Sinai, and the Ruach HaKodesh was outpoured upon the disciples at the temple on Shavuot, also in the second chapter of Acts. We reflect upon that and reflect upon the things that they're going through, the fires that are happening. When we went there, we drove in a van. There was just three couples, 6 people, myself and us and 2 other couples. And we just drove in there and really didn't even think too much about it. But when we drove through there, we drove through many Arab villages to get to Itamar. They are outside the green zone, as you will. They are in the settlements. They are taking back the land. Every place that the soles of their feet shall tread, they are taking it back with their blood, sweat, and tears. And so we applaud their tenacity. We applaud their chutzpah, their determination that they know that the Father has planted them there.
Yes.
And they overlook Shechem, with Mount Gerizim and Mount Ebal, right there, the shoulders, if you will. And right in the middle of it is Shechem, where Abraham crossed over, where Joseph's tomb is buried. And he's buried there. And you can see that all from Itamar. And so when we reflect on that, we read, we would encourage you to go to Itamar website, friendsofitamar.org, I believe. Sorry if I don't. I'll have that posted. And she wrote a beautiful blog regarding Shavuot. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it. It says, Shavuot 2019. The redemption is an ongoing process and a difficult one. It requires a high level of patience, kind of like waiting for bread to rise. Leaving the oven of Egypt is the first part of redemption. But there is much to do until it ever reaches a complete state. You have to wait. And that brought me back to Shavuot, when the disciples were gathering in the temple area for Shavuot, as all the good Jewish men and women would do. And that's what they did. That's the feast. You go to the temple. It's a traveling feast. You go to the temple, and they were there when the outpouring was poured upon them. But what did Yeshua say to them 10 days prior? Wait in Jerusalem. Wait for the promise of the Father. We've been teaching on this, and we actually taught this in this past Shavuot, that I just don't like to wait. I don't like to wait. I like to keep on moving. I like to do things. I like to get things done, and I don't like to wait.
Well, this is one of those generations, James, as you all know. It's a drive-through generation.
Yes.
It's a microwave generation. No one likes to wait anymore. Where is patience?
That is so true, because it's she goes on to say, you have to be kneaded, the bread that kneaded. And that's so true. The anticipation for bread, culminating with offering of bread on Shavuot, the only time actually bread is ever offered in the Holy Temple. It reminds us to be humble, that we were slaves and have a yearning for our land where we can rest and inherit and eat real food, not temporary food, but also live as a holy nation as we eat bread.
Yes, and that's interesting that she brings up bread, because when the Israelites, when those who crossed over, where did they go? They went into the wilderness. And what was the miracle that happened? Bread came down from heaven, manna.
Yes.
Manna came down from heaven to supply the nourishment for the children of Israel. Isn't that interesting? Manna came down from heaven. And that was an experience for all of them. Just imagine that today. Do we have manna coming down from heaven to nourish us?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
I knew the answer to that question.
We do. But there are areas in our life that we are waiting for. We're waiting for the Mashiach to come. We are waiting, and we call him the bridegroom. We're waiting for him to come. And that is what Leah is relating this to. It's relating it to the preparation of all of us. We're being kneaded, pressed, and getting rid of all the leaven, getting rid of all the sin in our life, being tested on a regular basis. And Itamar is certainly being tested.
Yes.
And humility is taking place in their lives. Just imagine you and your husband, or you and your wife, after you got married, no honeymoon, right to Israel to set up a place to inhabit, to grow seed, not only seed for food, but to develop and multiply as a nation, and to wait for Mashiach, and to know that you are in the right place. You're in the right place, even though there's fires that are taking over some of the pastures where they dwell. It's a test. It's a test. We think we have challenges here in the United States of America. Well, this is just a taste. This is just an experience. This is a true experience that's happening right there in Itamar. These are families. Just imagine your grandchildren have to go through this. Your grandparents. She even had her mother there with her. Her mother and father were Holocaust survivors from Poland. So this is called an experience of waiting for Mashiach, waiting for that day where the two become one. That's what those two loaves were, James. Yehuda, Ephraim become one, echad, with one another.
Yes.
As we all embrace the Torah, as we obey, listen, obey, and wait for our Messiah. We're all waiting for Mashiach. That to me is so refreshing to know that. And many of us, like Ruth, have left our native country, if you will, our native nation, and crossed over into the nation of Israel. Some grafted in, some have teshuved. We've all teshuved, actually.
Yes. So as we hear the news about Itamar and other places in Israel, remember, let us pray for the shalom of Israel, the shalom of Jerusalem. And do not forget our chief joy, Jerusalem, where the Messiah is coming back. and we get to pray, and we get to whatever we can do by giving offerings and different things. And if you can, if you think about an offering to Itamar, that would be awesome, because they are in need. They are surrounded by the enemy, but yet they stand fast because they know that the Creator of heaven and earth, the Adonai of Abraham, Isaac, and Yitzhak, has planted them there. They are in the land.
Yes.
And we need to support those who are in the land that are developing and creating a community. And we just are so thankful that the Father has opened our eyes to all the things that he's doing, and that he is coming back. And we need to wait, but we also need to do when he tells us to do.
Yes, it's a labor of love.
Yes.
So it's a labor of love, serving. And that's what Itamar does. They labor in love. They serve the Most High, and they are ministers to the children of Israel who are living in the land of Itamar.
Thank you so much for watching this Israel update, and on the Four Corner News Network Israel update. And we just so thankful for you watching, and we appreciate it. So until next time, we are James O'Hare.
And I am Abigail O'Hare. Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom.